together. Mr. Taran Sims. Welcome, Taran.
Thank you, Carla, so much for inviting me on the show today. So my role at the Ministry of Tourism when it comes to climate change, I sit on the National Climate Change Committee. And so right now we're producing what we call the third national communication to the United Nations Framework on Climate Change, and I give input based on the tourism perspective. Right now we're focusing on how do we give technical support to small hotels to adapt to climate change.
So I have a question. When it comes to us impacting climate change, are there things that we could do in this nation? Because we know that the industrial nations, they are really the cause
of climate change.
And so they really have to do the biggest changes.
Exactly.
What are some of the things that we could do in this small island nation, or islands nation, archipelago? What are some of the things that we can do? That's number one. And number two, we don't really talk about it. We don't really talk about climate change. It's not really a conversation of the day on many talk shows, etc., right? And I believe, let me put it like this, from my perspective, when you think about climate change and what could happen, I think it's so scary, if you know certain things. Now, I think that a lot of people don't know. So how do we get persons to be a little more aware or even interested in that conversation to begin with?
I think the very first step to combat climate change, and you said it very well, awareness. If I don't know what something is, how do I
think about it,
feel about it, or do something to stop it, or do something to protect myself from it? And there are studies to show you that the perception of climate change in the Bahamas is very low. And this study was done with college students. So it is now a way of life. It must be incorporated into our educational system to ensure that we can increase capacity and understanding of what is climate change. And from we increase the awareness, then we can start talking about what I can do as an individual, whether it's cutting off a light, whether it's saving water, whether it is knowing when a hurricane comes exactly what to do. Because when we look at it now, as I said before, we're living in this. We have to adapt to it, and adapting to it is knowing what to do if a hurricane comes. So developing survival kits. People who experience tornadoes, they have survival kits in their basements.
Right.
So bringing awareness to know what to do and how to survive through what we're going through. And that's the most simplest way that we can put it right now.
Management systems are developed and used. And the last point, ensure global increased accessibility of high quality training for all ICTs. Thank you.
You spoke about climate change and its impacts on tourism. So let's continue on that road. Tell me some of those impacts that you see happening in the Bahamas or that could happen in our country.
So, climate change and tourism, we have seen the impacts from Dorian. We had two major of our touristic islands shut down. When we looked at the reports from the international bodies when they went in, the largest, what we call loss and damage in climate change from the hurricanes, were private sector businesses related to tourism. Wow. So whether it be in a hotel being destroyed, proper infrastructure. So if the airport is destroyed, tourists can't get there.
Nope.
If the roads are destroyed, tourists can't get there. If public infrastructure like electricity and water, tourists don't want to come. And lodges have been lost, hotels have been lost. So we see that impact. Not only that, when we look at the dive sector, climate change causes what we call acidification of the ocean. So that can choke coral reefs. So therefore you have fisheries and tourism being impacted because the coral reefs are being destroyed. Mangroves can be destroyed. So climate change currently is impacting us, and in the future, when we look at sea level rise, so coastal areas beaches will be wiped out. And so if we don't help to combat it, or we don't encourage the global community to work along with us to combat climate change, the future of our tourism industry is currently, certainly in peril.
Yeah. Wow. I did not know, it could get that bad. I'm so grateful for this insight. Thank you. So, what is the Ministry of Tourism's role in reference to ensuring that community-based tourism is developed, is flourishing? especially on these islands where, like I said, I have students on rural family islands.
So, trade with me.